So the ending to the Bucks vs. Bears game on Thursday night was very controversial. There was a play on the 20-yard line at the Bears' second last drive, which resulted in a punt, where Shaq Barrett had his arms around him when Nick Foles let the ball go. And the refs called that roughing the passer. To me, that's not a roughing the passer because he had his arms around him and he was about to hit him. It would have been a sack if he held it on for a millisecond more. To me, that's very controversial because the Bears would have to punt it on third down. It would have been on the Bucks' 50-yard line. The Bucks would have gone it to plus 5 yards, same thing, 16 yards less, but they're on the 20-yard line. It's very controversial to me because I don't know how the ref missed that call. And that call turned the tide of the game. The Bears' defense was phenomenal. They forced a bunch of turnovers, held the Bucks down. A really good defense. The Bucks were banged up. They had Mike Evans, who was limited. They had Chris Godwin, who was out. They had Tanner Hudson, who had to play, and he was an undrafted rookie. And they had to rely on 5th and 6th round wide receivers. So, really, Bucks were banged up bad. To me, the Bears should have blown us out. But Nick Foles didn't make good throws on what should have been touchdown plays. And if he made those passes, the Bears would have won by 14. The worst trade in the 2017 draft has to be the Mitch Trubisky trade. They traded up one spot, and they gave up 4 draft picks. They traded for Solomon Thomas, Alvin Kamara, Frederick Thompson, and Fred Warner. That are the picks that they gave up, and they turned out to be. Alvin Kamara turned out to be a Pro Bowler and will always be better than Mitch Trubisky. And if they got him, it would have been a lot better for the Bears because they wouldn't even have to rely on Mitch Trubisky if they got him. And I think they would have gotten him because the Niners, I don't think they would have taken him. But I think the Bears would have gotten him at third to me. And if they had a decent quarterback and Alvin Kamara, that's a good team. How did Mitch Trubisky become number 1 taken? It's simple. Deshaun was seen as 50% of the time as a college-only quarterback, and Patrick Mahomes really only a prospect. All we knew was he had a cannon of an arm, and a lot of teams passed on him. The Texans passed on him. A lot of teams passed on him, so I don't blame the Bears for passing on Patrick Mahomes, but I do blame them for passing on Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson was phenomenal. He had a good arm. He's scrambling. He's really good. I don't know how they took Mitch Trubisky over him. And Mitch Trubisky, he's a failure in the NFL. He's below average at quarterback. He should have gotten in the 4th or 5th round. He's going to be a backup forever. His stats were 7 touchdowns, 7 interceptions in his first season. And if that doesn't scream bust to you, what does? He had 24 touchdowns, 12 interceptions this next year, and his best year ever, with a great defense and great wide receivers. But after that, he couldn't really perform. 17 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. And this past season, 6 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Then Nick Foles came along. They traded a 4th-round pick, the Jaguars, for Nick Foles. To me, Nick Foles is an okay quarterback. He's an average quarterback, mediocre. He won't lead your team. He'll just be there to make the throws when you need it. But what is the Bears QB job, you might ask? The Bears QB job is really just to move the ball up, take down time, let the defense win, get that field goal, get that touchdown. They don't need the offense to carry the team because the defense is already that good. How can the Bears improve? They really can get better quarterback who can scramble because their offensive line is not that good. They really just need somebody who can make those throws, has a good arm. Now, this is 2 scenarios how the Bears can improve at quarterback. They can trade up and draft Trevor Lawrence, which will take a phenomenal amount of draft picks. their whole draft would be ruined right there if they trade up to get him. But Trevor Lawrence is that once in a generational talent. His potential to be better than Patrick Mahomes if they can develop him and be that superstar. Or he can trade up and draft Justin Fields. It won't take as much picks as Trevor Lawrence, but it will still take a lot. From when they make the playoffs, they will probably be the 25th pick, and the Chiefs had to give up 2 first-round picks. So it'll probably take that for Justin Fields, and it'll take a lot more for Trevor Lawrence. Probably a first, a second, and another first. But for Justin Fields, it's good because he can take the ball and scramble. He has a good arm. So that really is what they need. Or you can get Trey Lance, quarterback from a no-name college. He's a good quarterback. A lot of scouts like him. They actually predict him to go ahead of Justin Fields. I haven't really watched him, but I've heard he's a really good quarterback. Or, if the Bears want to take a risk, they can sit in their spot and potentially waste a draft pick. Or bang with this draft pick and get Jamie Newman from Georgia. Now, the Bears can get free agents. The free agents options are Dak Prescott, Cam Newton, and Jameis Winston. I say Dak Prescott because Dak Prescott was really good so far to start the season before he got injured. And I hope he gets better. But I don't think the Bears are going to be getting him because the Cowboys have been saying publicly that they will re-sign Dak Prescott. Cam Newton took a major pay cut to sign with the Patriots, the only team who offered him any sort of contract. And Cam Newton would have had a better start of the season if he joined the Bears this season, and I don't know why the Bears didn't offer him anything. If they can sign him next season for more money, because he'll demand that more money because he took a major pay cut this season, he can really, really turn that team around because he does everything the Bears want in a quarterback. Winston, a shocker to a lot of people. But the problem with Jameis is, it pains me to say this as a Bucs fan, that the offensive line was not good. They just got this new rookie. Last year, Tristan Wirfs, who was pretty good. But the offensive line was horrible. He had good receivers, but he had no time to throw them. And the defense was horrible until the last 4 games of the season, where the Bucs went on a win streak and almost beat the Texans. That's why Jameis failed at Tampa Bay. And I think he can have a phenomenal career at the Bears because their defense is good, but the same problem with the offensive line, but it's still better than the Bucs offensive line last year. And better than the Bucs offensive line this year. So, if Jameis Winston can join that team, he'll have a better year than before, and the Bears don't need to rely on Winston to win them their games when they have a phenomenal defense. And that goes for all the quarterbacks. Dak Prescott, Cam Newton, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Trey Lance. That goes for all the quarterbacks I mentioned. Now that's all. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. If you like videos on the NFC North, go check out the Elite Zones video. It should be in the description. Then go to my channels. And if not, hopefully he comments on the video and click on his profile.